Welcome to the night sky for September 2025. In this presentation, we're going to look at the moon phases. We're going to look at the eclipses that are happening this month. That's 2 of them. We'll have the usual look at the planets, what they're doing, and then conclude with the night sky stellarium tour. Let's get started. Looking at the moon phases, we're in the waxing phase at the moment, and that's going to conclude on the 8th of September when we have the full moon, which will progress to last quarter on the 14th, and then the new moon on the 22nd, and then back to first quarter on the 30th. Now, we have, at the full moon, we have a lunar eclipse, and you can see the animation of it happening here. And that eclipse is going to be happening early in the morning. So the best time to watch is from around about 4:30 a.m. or so. You can see the sun, the Earth's shadow moving across the moon there, and then the moon sets while it's still in full eclipse for us. So given a clear sky, that should be a good one to look out for. Okay, let's move on to the solar eclipse, and this one happens early in the morning on the day of the new moon, the 22nd of September, and this is not a full eclipse, this is a partial solar eclipse, and it happens, the sun will rise during the eclipse itself. So you can see there the clock is running from about 6 a.m. up until around 8 a.m. or so. That's going to be the best time to see it. 6 a.m. and so you can see sun rises already partially in eclipse, and the moon moves across the sun and then clears it completely at around about 20 past 8. So this is the visibility map for the lunar eclipse. So we're going to see the eclipse occurring at moon set, as you can see there. And so much of the world is going to have the privilege of seeing this eclipse. However, the same cannot be said of the solar eclipse, which is really only going to be viewable from New Zealand and also some of the smaller countries surrounding us like Fiji and New Caledonia and so on. The Australians don't even get a look at this one, but I'm sure the penguins down in Antarctica will enjoy it as well. Now, in terms of viewing the eclipse, this is not the only solar eclipse that we've had. Of course, in recent times, we had a solar eclipse on 2024 in the United States, and that was the path of totality for that eclipse, and you could see many, many people got a good look at it. Too good of a look at it, in fact, because this is the Google search volume for the phrase, "my eyes hurt," during the week following the eclipse. So the takeaway from this is, if you're going to view the solar eclipse, please be careful and view it through the solar eclipse glasses. You'll murder your eyeballs if you look directly at it. The glasses are only $4. You can get them from Space Place. Okay, let's move on to the planets. Jupiter is an early morning companion for Orion. So look at it just before sunrise on the northeastern horizon, and it'll make a formation with Betelgeuse and Procyon and some of the other bright stars around. Venus is very close to the sun. It's rising just before the sun. Very, very difficult to spot. Saturn, however, is at opposition. It reaches opposition on the 20th of September, and so Saturn is in prime position for viewing. Mars is also still viewable. It's low on the western horizon at sunset, close to Spica, and don't confuse it with Antares, which is high above, or Arcturus, which is adjacent to it. Okay, let's have our night sky stellarium tour. Let's start on the 10th, just after sunset, looking over to the western horizon. Here we can see Mars, and very close to it, the star Spica. Below it, and similar in appearance, further to the north, is Arcturus, a red giant star. And then high above, we have Antares, which is another red giant star. Now let's advance until 9 p.m. in the evening and swing around to the northeast, where we can see Saturn very close to the anti-solar point, which means it's very close to opposition. And let's zoom right into Saturn. So you can see the ring structure of Saturn is almost completely edge on here, which means we won't get a good view of it at all. And in fact, the next time we will really get a good look at Saturn's rings are not until 2029. So let's zoom back and have a look at the Milky Way, the arch of the Milky Way, which is going almost directly overhead, north to south. Always good viewing on the Milky Way. But let's have a look at the constellations that we've got available to us at this time of the year. So the closest to directly overhead at the moment is Sagittarius, and the closest one to opposition at the moment is Aquarius. Let's swing around to the southern part of the sky, and here we can see our familiar crux, Southern Cross, which is now moving into its summer kind of hibernation close to the southern horizon. So not moving away from the best time of year for viewing the Southern Cross, and also, of course, the Carina Nebula, which is close by to it, and the most spectacular in the Southern Hemisphere. That's also going to be moving into a less favourable position for viewing. What this does mean is that the small and large Magellanic Clouds, there's the large there and the small there, will be moving into a better position for viewing. Let's have a look at the Large Magellanic Cloud through binoculars. So this is my binocular simulator, and we can see that the Large Magellanic Cloud kind of fills the view in the binoculars, and you can see a lot of the shape of the cloud itself, as well as some of the features like the Tarantula Nebula here, which are a defining feature of the Large Magellanic Cloud. And let's move to the companion, Small Magellanic Cloud. And once again, in the binoculars, you can see the shape of that cloud clearly as well. And also there's a couple of star clusters surrounding it, which are also worth looking at in the binoculars as well. Now let's switch it up to early morning. Here we are, 5 a.m. And let's look at the eastern horizon. We've got some bright objects in a bit of a cluster here. So there's Jupiter I mentioned earlier, and Procyon there, and Betelgeuse, Aldebaran, Rigel, and of course Sirius, which is the brightest star in the night sky. And there's our faithful companion Matariki, which is now rising at around 1 a.m. So we've got plenty of opportunity for viewing that now. And that will continue to rise earlier and earlier as the year progresses. Anyway, good luck observing this month. And once again, remember to protect your eyes if you're going to be viewing the solar eclipse. Thanks for watching.